Hey y'all, I'm back. Welcome back to your weekly astrology forecast. We have some very insightful and forward moving energy this week. Maybe a boost, maybe a little heavy, depending on how your chart is set up. So let's talk about it. Sunday, March 22nd, we had the Sun conjunct Neptune at about 1 degree and 50 minutes in the sign of Aries. And this brought us, or is bringing us this week into a new realization, a new beginning in a long term cycle. This is very astrological, New Year type energy. It's definitely reactivating this Saturn Neptune conjunction that took place beginning in February. And today, March 23rd, we're going to have the Sun and Saturn conjunction known as the Saturn Cazimi. So we have a Neptune Cazimi and a Saturn Cazimi as the personal planets start to make their way in the sign of Aries, all who are going to hit this Saturn and Neptune conjunction. That is, by the way, seeding a new dream, a new calling or vision, and making a structured plan to turn it into a reality. That's what Saturn and Neptune is doing. And we're going to see some sparks and some initiation points in that conjunction happening for a lot of us this week. Both Saturn and Neptune are in this death and rebirth cycle, especially with Saturn. This is kind of like a new Saturn that's happening for us as it is initiating a new cycle. And Saturn speaks to our limits and our hard work and responsibility. And Neptune is all about our dreams and what goes beyond the things that we can see. You know, this is our spiritual calling and our call to serve something higher than ourselves. And then we are having a conversation about the sun with these two planets. And the sun is going to be our identity and our life path and our goals and vitality and, the purpose that we came to be in this lifetime. So, some things to expect this week. You may be inclined or have the impulse to start something new, to take new action, to take initiative to do something courageously, to stand on something, to stand up for something, to reset something. You may be called to a new spiritual endeavor this week. The call may feel stronger. You may be culminating and working to complete something. This is the travel downhill if you are in school or graduating, or if you have a child that's graduating. So those may be new initiation points. Those may be cycles that are wanting to change, and we are going to be stepping into new seasons. We may have a call to serve or lead in a new way. There may be a call to serve in a spiritual capacity or in an endeavor that is higher or greater than ourselves. And we may realize something about our motivations and our ambitions behind why we do the things that we do and whether or not they are accurate in our own awareness. We could be revisiting old things and revamping them. We could be initiating something for the second time just in a new way. We could be refining something. And so some things that the Sun and Neptune reveal can be, the seeding of a new spiritual vision, a new calling. There may be a need for boundaries that we haven't set, but we really need to set, a need to resolve something or end something. There may also be the realization and the need for humility, noticing and realizing what our true motivations behind why we're doing something, and are our actions balanced? Are we being too self-sacrificing, unrealistic? Are we masking hubris with altruism? Because Neptune tends to romanticize and obscure things, and it's a very elusive and delusional type of energy, as much as it is spiritual and compassionate and romantic. So we could feel like we have a pure intention for something, but this could be something that is very self-aggrandizing and egotistical, that's hiding behind a motivation or an ambition. we could be parading or presenting like we really care about something outside of ourselves, but really this is something that we try to like light flex about. This could be some delusions of grandeur. Kiss the ring, I am your new sage, your new guru, leader, master, I'm so great, look at me, I love the kids type energy. And then paired with the sun and Saturn also together in Aries, which is the sign of I am. All of these planets that are conjunct to the sun are really asking, who are you for real? Who do you think you are? Is that who you want to be? Is this what you want to do? And we'll know in the immediate future because Saturn in Aries is going to initiate a test of validity. It's going to present an obstacle and it's going to essentially be looking for how invested are we in this thing we say we want to do. Would you still do this with no likes, with no inquiries, with no comments, with no one to say I support you, or this is a good deal, no external validation? Would you still believe in it if nobody else was showing you that they believed in it? That's the foundation that Saturn wants you to build on. Do you have the confidence and the belief to make this dream a reality? When things get tedious and complicated, will you still do it? If you come into an obstacle, if things feel like they are over your head, will you still do it? And we are going to realize what I think is my true ambition is not really worth it. It's not really worth all of the energy that I'm putting into it because it's actually not something I want to do. It's something that I think I want to do. So we'll be coming to those kind of realizations too, some of us. And we may have some insights on how we look at the world, how have we matured, and where we may still need maturity, where we may still need more structure and more discipline to make something solid and to be efficient for the long term. We may be asked to step up in our discipline in our organization, and some of these realizations be asked to hold ourselves accountable in a respectful and mature type of way. What are you willing to stand down and pause on before overreacting or acting impulsively in haste like you may have done 7 years ago? Saturn wants to know how we've matured, where we still need boundaries, where we still need to check our egos, because all of us are not perfect and we have blind spots. And sometimes life will, you know, hit us in ways that we become unprivy to some things that's happening in the background. So this is definitely a reality check, a validity test, a heart to heart. Are you who you think you are? And there is this dream with Neptune and Aries. There is this calling, this vision, this artistic creative pursuit, this new path that we want to take. It's something that we feel very deeply and impassioned about. And Saturn is like, I want you to have that thing. I want it to be your reality. But first, we need to see if the foundation is solid. If it's not, we need to make it solid. We need to make sure that external validation is not your cornerstone, because that does not ensure a solid foundation. You need to love it. You need to believe in it, and you are going to have to put in the work, and it's going to be a slow climb, and it's not a fast rocket shoot up to the mountain of success. So this week will be met with some realizations of what needs to be changed, what needs to tighten up, what needs to be refined, what needs to be released, because it's in the way of what we're trying to do and where we're trying to go. And what ego stories need to die? Where do we need to stop letting people exert their will over us? Because when Saturn comes into Aries, the initiation point of the zodiac, we're being asked to become our own authority, to be a responsible leader, and to exert healthy leadership and authority, especially over ourselves, to be the commanders of our own lives. Um, and so we may need to really stand up and stand on something, and stop letting people handle us in a certain type of way. And not saying that you got to fight nobody, but at the end of the day, there is a line that may need to be drawn, and there's a line that could possibly be drawn on you where you may be overstepping in somebody else's life, and they need to be their own authority. So that can go both ways. So we're stepping into our own version of authority, but at the same time not doing that Godzilla, getting on top of the Empire State Building, beating on your chest and shit, and doing too much. The name of the game in this cycle of life is going to be temperance, balance, patience, and humility. And then by Friday, we're going to see Saturn sextile Pluto in Aquarius. And Saturn sextile Pluto in Aquarius is pretty significant because those two planets haven't made an aspect to each other since January of 2020. And that was when COVID popped off. So there could be some rhymes or things showing up in the news or, in our own personal lives that kind of mimic things that were happening around COVID. Perhaps there's something to do with jobs or working at home or the opportunities to work from home or just something like that, something to do with kids homeschooling or something coming back around that might resemble something about COVID, or you may be hearing some COVID type situations come up because these two planets were in a conjunction in the sign of Capricorn January 2020. But now they're in a different sign. But of course, when they are making a contact, something might come up. So Wednesday, the Sun in Aries is sextile and Pluto in Aquarius, and that, with the new reality check that we may have received this week, is going to bring realizations of things that need to be stripped away. We may find ourselves needing to end something, to fix something, and to remediate something so that we can be who we want to be and do the things that we need to do. And this could look like, if I say I want to be in this type of shape and condition, I may need to stop eating or consuming this thing. If I want better lung health, I may need to stop smoking. If I want to stop being in conflict with people, I may need to mind my own business and stop being in other people's business, shit like that. Or if I want to be my own authority, I may need to let people know and not passive aggressively just ghost them and, let them know, hey, I need you to stay out of this because I got this. I'm not taking anything, and I'm gonna stand on that. And it doesn't have to be combative, but it definitely, with maturity, we definitely need to adult and clear the lines, when it comes to certain people. So there may be realizations with Pluto in Aquarius of certain things that we have been doing and we didn't realize that we were doing, especially now that Mercury is direct. We've had some time in the cave and we could have noticed and realized that we have been doing some bullying. Perhaps we have been meeting things with ego trips, and maybe we have been resulting to playing mind games because we didn't feel comfortable enough to have like overt conversations. And at the same time, we could have been letting people mishandle us, not honoring our own boundaries. So we have been mishandling ourselves. And once again, like consuming things that are almost self-sabotaging, that really get in the way of that sense of vitality and having a good quality of life. So the Sun in Aries is really illuminating some things that need to change, some structures that need to be torn down so that we can build new structures. And then we're going to have Saturn sextile Pluto. We're going to have the tenacity and the focus and the driving power to make some things happen. I'm pretty sure that if you have a list this week, you will be getting all of those things on the list done, because Saturn and Pluto does bring insane ability to focus. It allows us to have this energy and drive. Sometimes we could be hyper focused, so you want to be careful of that. I definitely was going through that last night, not sleeping because I had all of these projects on my line. But also we want to be careful to, like I said, temperance, to not be spoiled for choice. And then we are sensing burnout by this week. This transit is going to also help us connect to our own sense of authority. We could be surprising ourselves with the boundaries that we are placing this week, and not in a screaming match type of way, but in a mature, self-advocating, new self-leadership type of way. We also want to notice with this Sun and Saturn sextile and Pluto where we have been overstepping our boundaries, overstepping other people's boundaries and making assumptions. And can we take responsibility and accountability for our actions, for our own shit, without blaming other people, and also taking accountability of the boundaries we didn't set without feeling shame about it because we didn't know then what we know now. And every day is a new opportunity to create a new daily virtue, especially in the sign of Aries, which is the spring, which is to begin again. Sun sextile Pluto is going to give us the insane ability to hone in, focus, plan, and to take intentional, mature, courageous, and disciplined action steps this week. Remember, we are not trying to create the whole empire in a day. We're taking small and effective steps, but we're also incorporating some balanced play and some leisure time, especially by this weekend when Venus is going to go into Taurus. It's going to be some luxuriating in the sun. Don't forget to take a walk. Don't forget to plop down and play with your kids and laugh for a minute. Everything is not meant to be for the hustle and bustle. Small action steps is the way to do it, so we can execute something that may be hard, but it's going to definitely be worth it because we are stepping into our own alignment. And I love that for all of us. May we be delighted with insights this week and find balance, avoid overdoing it, and hold ourselves accountable to fix, change, or end something without shame or blame. I love you. And yeah, Issa says she loves you too. And I'll see you in the next one. Y'all be easy. Bye. Love you. You are listening to the Free Spirit Astrology Podcast.